Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, and joining me as always as Tim. Great for the audio podcast version, Tim. That's just... So yes, this is a horror movie podcast. This is the news edition. We didn't actually have news last week, and it was mainly just because when I looked for news, there really wasn't any. A couple of small trailers, but nothing really worth sinking our teeth into. So, alternatively, this week's actually fairly healthy in terms of news and trailers. So, we have plenty to talk about, and we'll get diving right into it. I'm just going to adjust Tim's video just a touch. There's a little black line at the bottom. There we go. We're all ready to go. So, here we go. Yeah. Horror news, horror movies, people like those. So first up is a small update on Bride of Frankenstein. David Cope, who of course has worked on a number of big movies and a lot of mediocre ones over the years. It's almost like he got a free pass because he technically worked on Jurassic Park with Spielberg, and then so his name kind of meant something because of that. But he's actually done a lot of mediocre stuff since then. But he actually wrote Bride of Frankenstein when they were doing the Dark Universe. Like he did the Bride of Frankenstein that was going to star, I think, Angelina Jolie, because it was going to tie into all these other big movies. But
I think it had like a big director attached to it too.
You're probably right. It doesn't mention it in this article, but that sounds right. So so his script apparently is still kind of going to be used because it can still just sort of work as a standalone movie. He's saying that Universal they're looking for directors right now. He's saying that it's not quite as small in scope as Invisible Man was, but it's not this big, $150 million movie with like mega movie stars either. It's kind of this doable film. So a medium budget is I guess what I'll guess he's trying to say. But his name does not inspire that much confidence, I have to admit. But yeah, the only other thing here it says is that it's set present day. So we don't know that much.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, my wife's been watching a lot of reality TV lately, like a 90 Day Fiance and Married at First Sight. So I think I
have no idea where this is going. I'm excited. I'm excited by the start of this little story.
Well, I'm just saying, brides are hot right now, so they should. Strike while the iron's hot. People like bride entertainment, so let's get some of these bride movies out there.
Brides are hot right now.
Yeah, exploitation is big.
I mean, if you're lucky, brides are hot. Yeah. If you're lucky, man, yes. Or women, of course. It's kind of funny how there's enough of these Universal monster movies kind of in the works at this point that we're almost having a story. But every time we sit down to talk about horror news, there's at least one that's popping up somewhere for him. In fact, speaking of that, this isn't so much news, but I just wanted to tag on to the back of this. There was a little update from Karyn Kusama, of course, who directed The Invitation, Jennifer's Body, and more recently Destroyer, which I've still not seen. It's not a horror movie, which is why it's not something that we've done, but it looked good from the trailer as a thriller. But she's doing Dracula for Blumhouse. And she gave a bit of an update here, and I actually kind of like what she had to say. I'm going to read this quote here from her.
Okay.
On her Dracula movie. It's a fairly faithful adaptation of Bram Stoker's novel, Kusama told... what podcast was this? She was on a podcast. The Kingcast. On the Kingcast.
Oh, right. Okay. I subscribed to that, but I haven't listened to it yet. But I heard it's really good.
Well, I'm going to spoil a bit of one of them for you.
That's fine.
I think something that gets overlooked in the adaptations of Dracula in the past is the idea of multiple voices. In fact, the book is filled with different points of view. And the one point of view we don't get access to, and almost all of the adaptations do give access to, is Dracula himself. Yeah. So I would just say, in some respect, this is going to be an adaptation called Dracula, but it's perhaps not the same kind of romantic hero that we've seen in the past, and past interpretations of Dracula. So what I like about that is I think obviously I was excited because of The Invitation, because of this director's previous work, but that is exciting to me that she's specifically pointing that out and saying this is something that all the adaptations so far have done, when the book isn't really that. The whole time with the book is that Dracula is this dreadful force of nature, and you only get glimpses of him based on other people's viewpoints throughout the book. So I'm intrigued by her focusing on that detail when she's describing her film.
Yeah, that's very funny because I like literally like just read the book like maybe a week or two ago at this point. Well, for the first time is one of those ones I always meant to read but never got around to, and I actually had it on my Kindle, so I'd been like reading 5% of it every night for like a couple of weeks, and it was like helping me get to bed. But it's I mean I love the book. I absolutely love it. I think it's I'm surprised at how well it held up, and actually that was literally like one of the things I was thinking as I was reading it is like I knew before that it was told like through different points of views and through letters and stuff. There's a word for that, I forget, it was like epistolary or something like that, storytelling, when it's done through like kind of like different like letters and articles and that kind of stuff. It's basically like the found footage of books. But
that feels insulting though, because found footage is a lot more gimmicky than this is, I think.
Yeah.
Because in terms of writing, like because I mean, so many stories are told through first person. The idea of just making it diary entries and things like that, it actually feels quite natural. But yeah, God.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But then as I was reading it, that was one thing I was surprised about. Is I was like, oh yeah, you never get like Dracula's point of view. And yeah, I think that was like really interesting because he is such a focus in like any like take your pick, like any adaptation. So and I do like that take though in the book that, like you said, it is more of a force of nature, more of a monster that they have to tackle, like as opposed to I feel like when you do get a point of view, like not like you get sympathy, but it becomes almost more of like a like kind of like romantic like individual. You know what I mean?
He loses some of that mystique. I think one of my favorite adaptations, and probably the thing that gets closest to this, is probably Werner Herzog's
Dracula 2000. Oh, sorry.
Werner Herzog's Nosferatu. I feel, and maybe the original Nosferatu to an extent, but they maybe get the closest to that kind of feeling. And I mean, if Karyn Kusama sticks to this, if she sticks to the idea that, like, let's say, if one of our characters don't witness him, we don't get to see him. Like, we never just cut to Dracula on his own doing something, because maybe that's against the... And I'm not saying that has to be a hard rule. I mean, maybe there's a good reason to do a creepy moment where he's, like, sneaking into a bedroom or something, but...
Sure.
Like, I kind of like the idea of treating them that way. So I'm actually really excited by this description.
Me too.
Just because it's one of the things that I feel that all the adaptations have really... like... The atmosphere is a big part of that book, and I feel like the feeling of dread and this feeling of helplessness and just how powerful Dracula is kind of lost in most of the adaptations. They go for kind of the suave, and I like some of those movies. Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
Oh yeah, totally.
Picking on all of them, but I'm ready for one that feels like the book, because I don't think that exists yet. I don't think one that actually feels like the book exists yet.
Sure.
So. That's cool.
Yeah. No, I'm. I agree. I'm. Excited for multiple reasons, but I think this is definitely one to really look out for. It's kind of funny because they had these big grand plans for the Dark Universe, and it feels like they had all these movie plans, and then The Mummy tanked, and they were like scrapping everything, and it feels like they were just kind of like all right, well, let's just do this like cheap Invisible Man movies, and then that did so good that it's like all of a sudden again it's like, no, bring it all back, like which I mean I'm definitely down for it, because I think everything we've heard about so far at least sounds like interesting.
Yeah, most of the projects sound better. I think it's I do kind of love the irony that they were almost forced into doing something that's far better suited to the properties because of the failure of their Marvel style shared universe.
Yeah.
Like, that fell and tanked and crashed hard, and because of that they had to just do something cheaper, and lo and behold, that's actually a better idea for these things. These movies benefit from that approach, and so and obviously we've only had one so far, and some of them might not all be great. Like I think that Bride of Frankenstein could end up sucking because it's David Cope, but like yeah, if we end up with a handful of great movies out of this, if a few of the major ones are good, then why complain? So so sometimes good things happen in spite of what studios think is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And they learned an expensive lesson with that Mummy movie.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I would say probably, yeah, you get better results once the studio just kind of like gives up or washes their hands of something.
Yeah, they let the creative people just do something creative, and lo and
I know,
behold.
yeah, who knew?
So next up, so a remake of The Changeling has been in the works for a while, and it's kind of finally starting to gain a little bit of steam. We have Deadlines reporting that Finnish filmmaker Anders Engström, who worked on Taboo, Hannah, and C, so a lot of TV shows he's worked on, he's going to be directing the upcoming remake for producer Joel B. Michaels. The premise of the film, if you've not seen the original, which we have because we actually reviewed the original on streams, but the film follows a musician who, after the death of his young daughter, returns to his childhood home. After a series of terrifying events, he begins to unlock the mystery of the dead child that haunts his home, along with a terrible family secret. The original is a fairly solid movie, actually. No, I mean, it wasn't like a must-see classic, but yeah, we had a decent time with it.
I think it's pretty good. I do think it is one that a lot of horror fans do kind of hold up in high regard. I think it's a super weird one to remake because it's not. Like I feel like a remake would be going more for like a casual audience that doesn't care about the original, but I feel like a casual audience doesn't know what the original is. And then I feel like the people that do know what it is aren't the kind of people that are like, yeah, I love modern remakes, like it seems like a weird one. Like it doesn't seem like one that, is going to have like a lot of name recognition for the type of people that aren't going to be pissed about it. You know what's
so funny is I feel like with this one, it's not so much that they want the name recognition. I think they just want the name in general because the Changeling's a cool title. I think that's all this is. Yeah. And the funny thing is though is that the Changeling doesn't sound like. The title makes it sound like it's going to be like some sort of shapeshifter, which is not what the movie is. And the title does make sense once you've watched the movie, but it definitely conjures up a different type of movie in your head when you just hear the Changeling.
But didn't they already? They had like a different movie called Changeling too. The that Angelina Jolie movie from like I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something.
I don't remember this movie, but
it's like about it's based on a true story about a woman who like loses her son, and it's like the olden days, like 20s or 30s or whatever, and like her son goes missing, and then the police find him and bring him back to her and like, here's your son, and she's like, that's not my son, and everyone's like, yes it is, take your son, lady.
No, this movie does exist. I have Clint Eastwood directed it of all. And written by J. Michael Straczynski.
J. Michael Straczynski.
What a weird movie. What is this thing? But I was okay, sure. Yes, this exists. My guess would be that it's not called The Changeling. It's just called Changeling. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's like a trademark thing where if it's another horror movie, it's got a lot more legal troubles because it's another horror movie called Changeling.
Yeah.
But because this is a drama, based on a true story, it gets, I don't know.
That makes sense.
I have no idea.
We're gonna talk about one of the trailers did the same thing this week.
Did it? Oh, I'll find out when we get there because I don't remember off the top of my head. But I mean, I believe you. Or do I? Next up, not a lot to say on this one. Just that the filmmakers behind Villains, which was the oh god, what's her name?
The guy from It.
It's the guy. It's Skarsgård from It. Yeah.
I forget who the woman was, but she's good.
The actress. Damn it, she's been on other things. Anyway, so Dan Berk and Robert Olson, who made Villains last year, they have signed on to do a new film. And there's no details.
Heroes.
No, there's no details for it yet. It's simply been described as social horror. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Amblin is the studio behind it as well. Yeah.
Did you end up watching Villains? Because we didn't. I don't think we did on the show, but
we did not know. I love how you asked that. I was like, I don't think we did it in the show. Did you watch it? Like, it'd be funny if we had done it in the show. Like, well, yeah, Tim, we did it in the show. No, but I didn't see it. No. The trailer looks okay for what it was.
Yeah, I watched it. I liked it. I wouldn't say it's. I don't know. It doesn't seem like much of a horror movie to me. I guess you'd probably put it in horror. just for nothing else. But that is one of those thriller kind of dark comedy ish maybe. But I actually thought it was like a pretty decent movie. Like not amazing, not like my favorite of the year or anything, but yeah, if you're ever bored and just want something to watch, I think it's good.
Yeah. Micah Monroe was the actress, by the way.
There you go.
I'm annoyed that I didn't remember her name because she's in It Follows.
That's from It Follows. Yeah.
Yes, the It Follows girl. That's what I should have
the titular
remembered.
It.
No. The It's following her. That's the point. The titular It. He's the titular It.
Sure.
That's kind of funny. The star of It and the star of It Follows in a movie together.
Oh yeah. I never think about that.
Anyway, next up, so a film called Burial. Altitude Film Sales has got a film from the Cannes Virtual Market. It's a virtual market this year because obviously there's no Cannes Film Festival. It's a World War II set thriller following a small band of Soviet soldiers who must escape from Berlin to Moscow whilst harboring one of the world's greatest secrets.
What's the secret?
And it says it's not necessarily full-on horror, right? But the film is said to combine the tension and suspense of genre films like Green Room and Don't Breathe with a cat-and-mouse thrills of 1971 and Headhunters. So basically what they're doing is they're transporting Hitler's ashes to Russia.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And apparently Hitler's ashes has secrets contained within.
Okay.
So, I don't know. It sounded interesting. It is on Bloody Disgusting, and they are technically saying it's not really horror, but I don't know. Green Room's kind of borderline, I'd say as well.
Sure, yeah.
But Don't Breathe's definitely a horror movie, so
yeah.
Worth mentioning.
I usually don't like combining like horror and I mean, again, not saying it's horror, but like I don't really like war settings for most of my entertainment. So I'm not against it. If it ends up being good, it could be cool. And it does sound like an interesting idea, but it's usually not what I gravitate towards. But who knows? It could be good.
Next up, Elisabeth Moss is sticking in the horror genre for a little bit. She's going to be in a film. What's that noise? She's going to be in a film called Run Rabbit Run.
Okay.
So it's going to be directed by Dana Reed, who worked on The Handmaid's Tale, funnily enough, which obviously Elizabeth Moss is the lead character in. So it's an Australian thriller. A modern-day ghost story will follow Sarah, a fertility doctor with a firm understanding of the cycle of life. When she is forced to make sense of the increasingly strange behaviour of her young daughter Mia, she must challenge her own beliefs and confront a ghost from her past.
Okay. It could be good. I don't really have much of an opinion on it yet. I think it'll probably depend on once we get the trailer and stuff, see how it looks. But I mean, off the top of my head, I don't think the story like really calls out to be too much, but I don't know, that could be good.
No, I agree. The description doesn't set my world on fire, but sometimes, they have to keep these things very vague. The actual hook of what the story is could be secretive for now. But
I do like Elisabeth Moss. She's
Elisabeth Moss.
Moss.
Moth. Elizabeth Moth.
I mean, she's good, but she's not someone that I'm like automatically like she's in it. Oh, okay, I'll go see it. Like,
Oh, is it? Do you know how like some like porn stars will like make their fake names like almost to sound like a celebrity's name, so they'll do like a pun.
I didn't know that, but go on.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of an example. I think I think of an example, but it'll be like a celebrity's name. But you know how like you get porn movie titles? You get like some porn actresses will like have like it's kind of like
instead of Gary Busey, Gary Pussy.
I mean, I was thinking of the lady actresses, but sure, yes. That's an example. So anyway, Elisabeth Moth sounds like someone tried to do that, but it came out wrong. Like they it's like, I want to do the Elisabeth Moss knockoff like porn name. It's like, wait, Moth? Why Moth?
Well, like if it was if it was like a porn star who's trying to break into like horror films, so she thought you had to do the same thing for horror.
And then she just gives up and becomes a teacher and changes her name to Elisabeth Math.
There you go. The cycle's complete.
Yeah. Next up, so Jessica M. Thompson, who directed the critically acclaimed The Light of the Moon. Have you heard of that?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
I've heard of the moon, but
oh, I'm glad you've heard of the moon. So she's going to direct a horror thriller called The Bride for Screen Gems. Now, Screen Gems is not film you with. Do you know what? Actually, the weird thing about Bloody Disgusting's article here is that it says, the next line of this article says, fans of wedding-themed horror like Bride of Chucky, Rec 3 Genesis, and more recently Ready or Not are in for a treat. Are there people who are fans of wedding-themed horror movies? Is that like a subgenre that people are into?
Yeah, we were just talking about it earlier. I told you brides are hot right now.
Touche. The story follows a young woman who attends a lavish destination wedding, unaware of the horrors that await. That is so goddamn vague that I can't even begin to have an opinion on anything. But it does say that Blair Butler, who wrote criminally underrated, again, this is very much the opinion of Bloody Disgusting here, Hellfest. You watched Hellfest, right?
Yeah, but I get it mixed up with like the 5 other hell amusement park themed movies.
No, because there was one out at the same time called Bloodfest, and I think I kept mixing those up. But I think Hellfest was the one we watched.
Right, I know I watched both of them, but I think I liked one more than the other. I think like Hellfest I think was okay. Like I wouldn't say. Yeah, criminally underrated. Yeah, it sounds like a bit much.
It wasn't a complete disaster like I think we were expected to be, with a couple of okay moments, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. Also wrote Polaroid, which we did not do, although I've heard nothing but bad things. So
yeah, I watched it. It's horrible.
So we should do it on the show, that's what you're saying. You should watch it again, and we can do it on the show.
Probably have to.
It's the law.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the writer of those films is writing this, which actually probably, is enough. Wait. Oh, okay, that's not that bad. I saw the Curse of La Llorona mentioned later on in the article. Oh my god, who's what? It's just the producer though, so it's not, that telling. Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, that's that one. What's next? Oh, no, this is. There's something about the headline here and the image that is along with it. So I want to paint a picture for you here, Tim. The image in this article is of like a shutter on like a store like window, or more specifically in this case, I think the store entrance. So it's like where the doors are, and it's halfway up to about waist height, and all you can see underneath this bottom half of the shutter is lots of like obviously legs, but specifically they're wearing jeans. It's all these jeans.
Okay.
Right. That's what it is. So. From the producer of Turbo Kid comes a new horror tale that is dressed head to toe in denim. Bloody disgusting having fun with that headline. It's called Slaxx. That's SLAXX. It's a horror film in which a possessed pair of jeans come to life and punish the unscrupulous practices of a trendy clothing company. When Slaxx is unpacked in a locked-up flagship store, it's up to Libby, a new employee, to stop the carnage before it's too late.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I love Turbo Kid, but I mean I don't really care too much about producers, like I mean like there's definitely like movies where they have a big impact and that you might want to keep your eye out for them, but I mean I don't really know if the producer on that movie, if he had much to do,
I have no idea either.
What was good about it?
Look, it's a connection to something, all right. What about the premise here, Tim? What are you feeling about the jeans?
I feel like these are always like when you hear a premise like this, it's so outlandish, and I feel like these are usually better suited to doing like a 5-minute online parody sketch or something than an actual movie, because it's like it's obviously trying to be like kind of crazy or ridiculous or whatever, and I feel like most of that stuff kind of ends up being a little eye rolly. Like I'm not saying it's like the level of Sharknado, but it kind of seems like that's what you're getting with a lot of these things.
But every so often you do get that gem that'll take its premise and nail it and make it an entertaining 90-minute movie somehow, like it happens.
Yeah, like if they, get good people involved and actually find interesting things to do with it and, actually take it, kind of seriously instead of just, hey, let's just make like a dumb, like, movie that people can laugh at or whatever. It could potentially be good. So, yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by it, but yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it's gonna end up.
Yeah, I was taking a photo of the article to send to someone.
Okay.
It felt
Your local jean salesman.
It felt too good not to share. So, yeah, so that's Slaxx. It's got pretty. The poster's pretty fun. It's basically like a shot of like an ass, right, with jeans. But the person's not wearing a top. You don't see like too far up the back though. It's just like the bottom of the back. But it's like the word Slaxx is written like sort of cut in blood, right? But the bottom, the tagline is "an ass to die for," which Okay. So from everything in the description and the poster, it seems like it's got the right sense of humor. Like I'm hoping this will be the teeth of Jeans movies.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. The Jeans, as if there's other Jeans movies. I think this may be an interesting double.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Oh, there you go. This may be an interesting double feature with in Fabric, which we did.
Oh, yeah.
More killer clothes, or the killer clothes subgenre. Oh, there you go. That's the thing. All right, next up.
We'll have to do it for like Fashion Week or whatever.
Yeah. I'm amazed that we have never done something for Shark Week. You know that?
And yeah, especially since I love sharks.
Yeah, you do.
Surprising.
You're shark mad, so you are. So Paramount Pictures has going to turn a horror short called Laura Hasn't Slept into a theatrical film. You can go and watch the original short it's on Vimeo if anyone wants to go see it. But here's the description. So the short's writer, director Parker Finn is going to write and direct the film. So sometimes that works out being a bit shaky because they don't maybe have the experience, but at the same time, it kind of feels right that he should get his chance to do it because it's his baby, right? He should get to do it. The title character, played by Caitlin Stacey, is a young woman desperate to rid herself of a recurring nightmare. She seeks help from her therapist to confront the terror. So, not super it sounds kind of typical enough from the description. But it's one of these things where had I done this news early enough, I might have actually sat and watched the short to get a sense of what it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh wait, I tell a lie. The video on Vimeo, which they've linked to, is actually just a teaser for the short, not the actual short itself. Because I just checked the runtime and I thought, wait, 22 seconds. That's really short. How much of a story can you tell in 22 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that this person's getting a chance to make it into a movie, but yeah, it's kind of hard to get too excited by any of this information.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be down to watch the short if it is available somewhere, but
it's that thing where, because Lights Out had a really good premise and that came from a short, but I felt the movie didn't really capitalize on its potential, so hopefully this does not end up being like that. Hopefully it works. So there's that. Next up, we actually got some details plot-wise for the new Children of the Corn movie, and I'm a little terrified that this means we have to actually marathon through the previous 8 movies, 10 movies,
like 13.
13. What the shit? All right, so. Yeah, so this was actually notorious because this was still shooting when everything else was in like total lockdown a month ago, in Australia. So, maybe they were hoping the fires had already killed all the virus. I don't know, but so in an article, talk about. So we actually got some details though. So this is So the film's cast includes Elena Kampouris from Before I Fall, Kate Moyer from When Hope Calls, Callan Mulvey from Avengers Endgame. Oh, I've heard of that one. And Bruce Spence from The Road Warrior, as in Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. He's going back a bit.
Yes.
So here's what the Variety says as a description. The film describes the events leading up to and including the massacre of the adults of a small town in Nebraska by their children. After the adults irresponsibly ruins the crop on the children's future. They do note though that it has almost nothing to do with the original 1984. I mean, it uses the word classic here. I would debate the use of the word classic with Children of the Corn. But yeah, there you go. Thoughts,
Cool.
feelings? I don't know.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna see it. Yeah, I'm not gonna miss a corn picture.
Corn pitch.
But like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we really need like a prequel. Like, it seems like you're kind of yeah, missing the most interesting part if you're spending most of the movie before that. But I mean, I trust they have a vision for it.
I don't. I do. I thought you were going to say there. I was like, it feels like they're stretching things a bit with this one. I'm like, stretch it. Oh, the 14th movie. You think they're stretching at 14?
Just doing a quick Google search. It says there are 8 movies for Children of the Corn.
That's better. I mean, it's still too much, but don't get me wrong. But
it does feel like 13 though. I feel like. No, I mean, yeah, it is absolutely bizarre that there's more than one of these movies. I don't know how it became a franchise. I think it's funny that it is, though.
Yeah, it's directed by Kurt.
I think it's funny that it's the only movie that's still filming during a worldwide pandemic. But
yeah.
okay.
Well, I think some stuff started to shoot by now because they're using things up. But yeah, this was shooting. But anyway, it's directed by Kurt Wimmer, who directed Equilibrium and Ultraviolet.
Interesting.
So we'll see how that goes. I remember liking Equilibrium from my early teens. I'm worried that it won't hold up if I watch it again. Although we'll do it in Ace at some point, so I'll see it. But Ultraviolet and everything he made afterwards, though, get absolutely like it was like Razzie worthy stuff apparently from all accounts. So
yeah, I don't know if I've seen anything else, but I'm in the same boat. Though I remember liking Equilibrium, but I haven't seen it in forever.
Mm-hmm. So we're at the trailers. Then we got a bunch of trailers. We have 5 movies.
Whoa. We're not going to talk about like probably the biggest news of the week.
What was the biggest news of the week?
The Bruce Campbell confirmed the new Evil Dead movie and the director.
You're making this up. That didn't happen.
No, I swear to God.
I searched Bloody Disgusting today for news. Why would they not talk about
that? I mean, I'm pretty sure it was. I think I heard it from Bloody Disgusting, but so it's gonna be called Evil Dead Now, and
okay, continue.
I'm not too excited about the director. I don't think you like this movie either. I could be wrong if maybe I'm misremembering, but I think we are both did not like it. But it's from the guy that did the Hole in the Ground.
All right. I think I think I did see this article, but the headline made it sound like it was just Sam Raimi's looking at this director for the next Evil Dead. It sounded like really.
I mean, maybe I could be wrong. Maybe they haven't made an official statement. But
here we go. I've got the article here. Let me read this, and we'll get the details right. That should have been first. I knew Evil Dead movie should have been first on the list, but whatever. We're here now. Sam Raimi has revealed a brand new Evil Dead movie was in the works last year. Blah blah blah. Yeah, Bruce Campbell spilled the beans to Empire this week. Campbell has announced that Lee Cronin from The Hole in the Ground is the director selected by Raimi and the team to write and direct the next Evil Dead. Oh, that does sound actually relatively official. Okay. Fair enough. Yep. Okay, there's big horror news that I completely missed.
But no, I mean, you didn't like Hole in the Ground either, right? Or
no, I did not. No,
okay.
we were both kind of iffy on that. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but I just thought nothing in it really landed for me. I mean, I guess the hope is that this is going to be more. Like, maybe this goes the opposite route to the 2013 movie, which I would much rather be getting a sequel to with the returning director and star. But hey, but yeah, Evil Dead Now, that's an interesting title, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I guess, like, what it sounds like is it's going to be its own separate thing that, like, yeah, because I don't think, I don't think there's going to be any Ash. I think they say there's no connection to, like, the TV show or anything, which I mean, I'm not opposed to having like different people do different stories in that universe where, because you can just have, a book and deadites and stuff. You can do fun things with that, and then as much as I love like Ash and Bruce and everyone from the TV show, I feel like it it ended the way it wanted to, and well, I don't know if it's the way they wanted to, but it ended on a good note, and I feel like you don't need to bring that stuff back necessarily. So I don't know, it could potentially be good. And then if again, not super excited about this director, but I mean, maybe he had like a good pitch or idea, and then maybe if he's actually working with like the team and the producers and stuff to kind of guide him along, it could end up being good. So
and to be fair, like I think a lot of the problems with The Hole in the Ground was the premise. I think we were just kind of like not into what the story was doing the entire time. So it's entirely possible that with the right premise, this director will hit the right marks and we'll be more into it. Oh, but it is worth mentioning though, like there was a lot of people who did like that movie. We were kind of, I don't know if we were in the minority per se, but there was definitely a camp that were in love with that movie.
Yeah, I know. I had at least one friend that was talking about this news, and he really liked that movie, and I kind of disagree with him on it. So I mean, maybe we are a bit in the minority, but again, it's not enough to make me go like, oh, this sucks, I don't want to see this movie. But it's not as exciting as it would have been if they announced a sequel to the reboot, or I don't know, brought maybe someone a little more interesting in. But hey, I'm always down for more Evil Dead though, so it's I'm still somewhat excited about it. But maybe once we get a trailer and more premise stuff behind it, it'll start to shape up.
Yeah, I wonder if like they're all just going to be standalone movies now. Like maybe like nothing. And that said, though, if it makes a shit ton of money, maybe they will want to just do a direct sequel to this one. But it's interesting. It's taken a bit longer to get here, but we're finally talking about a fifth Evil Dead movie. The other franchises have raced ahead, but with all the legal disputes on Friday the 13th, Evil Dead's got a chance to catch up and get ahead if it wants to get to those that 13. Yeah, Evil Dead Now. That's what I call music. Well, those Now CDs a thing in the US? I don't know. If
yeah.
Those, okay,
I could be wrong, but I think they are still going.
They're still going. I had Now 42. I think that was the one random one I had as a kid.
Jeez.
Well, what are they at now? What number are they up to?
Oh, I mean, I would assume that they're at like 30s or 40s now, but I mean, I don't know. I
don't know. Now 42 was like when I was like, I don't know, 10?
Oh,
something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, they've been going for a while. All right. Evil Dead news then, which was almost missed. So trailers. We got trailers. So we got a bunch of movie trailers. We even got a video game trailer that we're going to talk about because we're both somewhat invested. And maybe it's something we'll do from time to time if a prominent horror game trailer or even a TV trailer maybe pops up. So first up, we have a Kevin Bacon horror movie called You Should Have Left. In fact, he's reuniting with the director of Stir of Echoes, which I've never seen. But
I think I've heard people like that. I don't think I've seen it either. But
Speak of the Devil, I didn't know who that was until I just looked at the article. David Cope was the director of Stir of Echoes and this film.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about Stir of Echoes, but I remember seeing that name, and then it's funny because I was like, I know that name from somewhere, and then when you mentioned him earlier today, I was like, oh yeah.
There you go. So this is a Blumhouse movie, and Kevin Bacon's married to Amanda Seyfried in this movie. So
of course,
Amanda Seyfried, who was playing a teenager in movies about 20 years after Kevin Bacon was playing a teenager in movies.
I do like that. It seems like that might be like a plot point or something.
Yeah, no,
like the daughter does bring it up.
Yeah, that is brought up. It's a joke in the trailer where she's like, "Oh, you're much older than Mum. You're going to die first." He's like, "I'm not that old." And I'm like, Kevin Bacon must be pushing 60 at this point. Like he's getting up there. I mean,
it still looks good, but like,
it looks good for his age. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not as like sometimes like Tom Cruise will have love interests who are like 22. Amanda Seyfried is in her 30s. She's not like super young, but there is a huge difference.
Still,
But at least once you're in your 30s, like, okay, you're more of a proper adult at that point, at least.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
yeah. You know, so, I mean, as a side, obviously, but, so yeah, the trailer, it's like they move to this new house, as many horror movies start with, and some trippy stuff starts happening. You know, one of the rooms is like wider on the inside than it is on the outside. So it's basically the TARDIS. You know, it's Doctor Who. Is essentially what's happening.
Sure.
But like he has like a past. They don't really get into it in the trailer too much, but they do mention that he was found innocent of a crime of some kind. Siegfried's explained that to the kid at one point, and then you know he seems to be seeing versions of himself in the house. So sort of like this creepy double happening. I don't know. What did you make of this trailer?
It looks interesting. I would say, I feel like there's a lot of potential for it to be bad, because there's a lot of like seemingly boring generic kind of stuff that we see in a lot of these movies, but I think there's also some interesting stuff like you're talking about with the house, how it's doing a lot of weird trippy stuff, like if it's just a straight up ghost thing. I think this would probably look bad, but I'm kind of intrigued by some of the weirder elements, like the different depths and maybe mind games that are going on there. So I'm mildly intrigued. I don't have a particularly good feeling though. I mean, what the last Kevin Bacon movie we did was not the best.
Was that a Darkness? That was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That was such a long time ago in the chronology of the show. That was a long time ago.
Although we probably did Friday the 13th after that, so maybe I should take my words back. But at least like timeline of the movies when they came out. That's
yes,
the newest one we did.
Modern Kevin Bacon horror movies do not have a good track record. Here's the official description, actually, just to sort of clarify some of this. Theo Conroy is a successful middle-aged man whose marriage to his much younger actress wife, Susanna, is shredding at the seams, frayed by her secretiveness. That wasn't even was that in the trailer? Her being secretive? I don't think it was.
It didn't seem like it.
His jealousy and the shadow of his past. In an effort to repair their relationship, Theo and Susanna book a vacation at a stunning remote modern home in the Welsh countryside. This is set in Wales.
Hell yeah.
For themselves and their 6-year-old daughter, Ella. I had a weird pause there, but yes, Ella's the daughter. What at first seems like a perfect retreat, distors into a perfect nightmare when Theo's grasp on reality begins to unravel, and he suspects that a sinister force within the house knows more than he or Susanna have revealed, even to each other. Interesting.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I think Co-op's name combined with a modern Bacon horror movie has me worried. There are a couple of cool moments where he sort of like, there's like a double of himself in the reflection, like reacting differently and things. Like there's a couple of like potentially cool moments in the trailer, but I think my expectations are heavily tempered, and I'm going to, and hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised, but my expectations going in are very middling to bad.
I mean, I guess we'll find out soon because it's next week. It comes out.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, we're going to be doing this soon. Damn it. Well, we'll put that up the list. Then we'll.
I'm not sure if that's also a good sign if they release a trailer a week before the movie.
That could be a sign of just what we're going through this year, though. That maybe this was something that was going to be a theatrical release in 6 months, but they're like, hey, it's ready now. VOD is a thing, and.
Yeah.
In fact, no, if I remember right, Blumhouse had a release date in May for something that was unannounced. It may have been this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they have like sort of sprung some movies on us quite quickly before in the past. I think Gallows 2 was quite a last minute. Which again, admittedly, to your point, that could be a bad sign because Gallows 2 was not good. So
No.
Next up, so you were saying earlier how you don't like horror movies in a wartime setting, so we have Ghosts of War, which is a movie about a group of American soldiers who kill some Nazis that end up at this old mansion in World War II, but of course there's ghosts in the mansion and they end up being trapped there, and that's kind of the gist of it, really, pretty much. But here's the official description. Ghost of War follows 5 battle-hardened American soldiers assigned to hold a French chateau near the end of World War II. Formerly occupied by the Nazi high command, this respite quickly descends into madness when they encounter a supernatural enemy far more terrifying than anything on the battlefield. Now, I mean, telling me that there's like ridiculous Nazi ghosts because of the weird experiments or whatever they were doing there, it sounds like a fun idea to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential though for this to just be garbage. And
Oh, for sure.
now, admittedly, I'm someone who liked Overlord, and I know you weren't as keen on it, but
Yeah.
I don't think this looks as good as that. To just to put that in comparison, I mean, how did you feel about the trailer?
Again, this is one where I feel like there's a lot of potential for bad. Look like, just going by this, look like maybe some bad CGI ghosts and cheap jump scares. Like I said, I don't really like usually mixing like war, with like supernatural horror and stuff. But I think this one's like a little different because it's like, it seems like it's not like they're on the battlefield, or in the trenches. It's like, oh, they're in like a haunted house. They just happen to be soldiers during wartime. So I can get down with that. But I don't know. I don't think it necessarily looked great. I am intrigued to see it though. I could see the potential there. Like, I could be wrong. It might end up being kind of fun. But I don't know.
Directed by Eric Bress, who, according to this article, did the Butterfly Effect. So if you have an opinion on that, it might, this is another one that's coming soon. This is July 17th on VOD.
It's so funny. Like, does anyone care about the Butterfly Effect anymore? Like, it's been so long. Like, does anyone even remember that movie?
I mean, I wish I didn't.
Yeah, it's I think, I mean, admittedly, I think when it first came out, I did like it when I was like a dumb teen, but going back now, it's like, I mean, such a dumb movie. Does
anyone remember or care about Ashton Kutcher? Like,
I don't think so.
Like, remember when he was a thing? I don't know, like, it's just this, the times have went on. Next up, we got a trailer.
That's another one that's like surprisingly a franchise. Like, I think there's like 2 or 3 Butterfly Effect movies.
Yeah, well, it's one of those ones where it was like 2 direct-to-video sequels and then it just kind of died. So it's kind of that weird thing. The one that surprises me, and this is one we'll do at some point, is the Wrong Turn franchise, which ended up with like 6 movies.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, that's actually quite a lot for just being a bunch of direct-to-video sequels.
Yeah.
But hey, I only ever saw the first one, so I mean, that'll be fun to go through one day. Well, I say fun. I hope fun.
Sure.
Hopefully not miserable. So we got a trailer for Relic, which is the Emily Mortimer film. So here's the description. When Edna, an elderly and widowed matriarch of the family, goes missing, her daughter Kay, played by Mortimer, and her granddaughter Sam travel to the remote family home to find her. Soon after her return, they start to discover a sinister presence haunting the house and taking control of Edna. Now, this was one that it felt like maybe they're doing something with, like, it's all kind of a metaphor for, like, I don't know if it's the Alzheimer's or whatever the grandmother's suffering from, but it's one of these things where parts of this trailer did feel kind of generic and doing sort of typical haunting, scary, spooky stuff. There was a couple of moments that I kind of like, because the grandmother seems to think that someone or something keeps coming into the house. I did kind of like the moment in the trailer where she's in bed and she tells Emily Mortimer that it's in the house. It's under the bed. Can you check under the bed for me? And she checks under the bed, and the way there's like sort of someone like sort of like hiding behind things, moving slowly. I thought that was an effective little moment, at least on its own. So yeah, how did you feel?
I didn't think it looked good at all.
Fair enough.
And to be fair, I do think I like Emily Mortimer, but I think I just have a bad taste in my mouth from Mary, which was just like so freaking bad. But I think what gets me more with this is, I mean, I can easily be like a sucker for these kind of things, but it was more like seeing all the praise in the trailer, because I had a bunch of quotes from people being like, "Oh my god, like instant classic," or like, "Oh, like terrifying combination of like humanity and horror and blah blah blah," and like, and it seemed to be like a lot of them from respectable people like I follow on Twitter or read on websites or whatever. So I think that sold it for me like more than the actual trailer. But But yeah, I think what we got just looked kind of like, again, just a lot of typical generic stuff. But I don't know. It's definitely one that I'm intrigued by and would like to see, though.
Yeah. I mean, Bloody Disgusting seemed to like it as well. Their review called it bone-chilling and devastating depiction of dementia. There you go.
Yeah.
So it says here that so Natalie Erica James directed it, and they're saying that it lands kind of like in between The Babadook and Hereditary in terms of like what it's doing. Which is fine praise, but this is not an A24 movie or anything like that. This is IFC Midnight, and IFC Midnight has a lot of garbage. You know, they're not, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't like produce a good film, because they obviously they could. But anyway, this is coming July 10th, so again, it's another close movie. It's funny, like the world's kind of shut down, yet we're still having VOD horror movies coming out pretty consistently.
And then this
turning.
Yeah, this is the one I was talking about earlier too, where it's another movie that has the same title as a movie. It just dropped the because of course there's the '90s, the Relic, and this is just Relic.
It never occurred to me because I've never seen it, but you're right. I remember that existing.
I like the Relic. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I think it's fun. It's got flaws for sure, but
so
it's too dark. It's hard to see.
Next up, we have Homewrecker, another trailer, starring Alex Esso, who was in Starry Eyes and Doctor Sleep. And this is a film about a deranged, sort of older middle-aged woman who invites this younger woman round under the guise of wanting to do some interior decorating, and seemingly goes absolutely nuts and wants to be your friend and does lots of psychotic things. How did you make this trailer?
I didn't really like it. It could definitely have potential, but I don't know. The character seemed like annoying. Just talking about like, I used to be popular. Why don't people like me anymore? Like, I mean, obviously, yeah, the character is supposed to be like unhinged and annoying and stuff, but just watching her made me like put me off. Like I was like, I don't want to watch this person for 90 minutes. But
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, they could potentially do fun stuff, like, but I wasn't super jazzed about it.
I think potentially, because all those moments are edited quickly together, I think it might not be as like, it might work in the movie because it's more the pacing might be better. I did kind of get a dark chuckle out of the start of the trailer though. This is a Red Band trailer. It's got swearing and stuff in it. And at the start of the trailer, she's walking down the street and she turns to like a young mother with her baby, and she's like, "Oh, what a cute baby!" And she sort of smiles at the young mother. And then as soon as she turns around, she drops a C-bomb on her. Like,
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, the dark sense of humor in me really found that amusing. But that's called Homewrecker. So the last movie trailer we're going to talk about is actually kind of a unique sort of fun one, which is not a new movie per se, but it's a movie that was shot in 1995. It took 10 years to finish, and is only just finally going to get released in the US. So this is a Japanese film, which has been referred to as the Japanese Evil Dead. And there's a trailer here, and it kind of looks like the Japanese Evil Dead. There's a straight up a shot at one point where he's doing the ash pose. What did you make of this? How did you feel?
I mean, I've already seen this guy. I don't know. I saw this news story. I don't know. I was confused why people were making a big deal about this, because it's been like available for years. Like, I guess it hasn't had a proper US release, but because I think this DVD I have is from the UK.
Oh, really?
But I mean, it plays on, it's region free, and it's been available for quite some time. But I mean, I don't know.
I have a question. Is that usually where it lives, up on that shelf, or did you just get it ready because you watched the trailer and thought, I'm going to bring this up?
Oh no, I've had it. I got it ready earlier.
That's fair. I'd never heard of it, but the article here, the headline says finally available.
I mean, I guess like maybe it wasn't widely like maybe you have to be a weirdo like me who's always like watching like these small indie labels that put stuff out. This was from what was it, Terracotta, which I think does like a lot of like really weird small movies or whatever. But I think they're UK. You know what's kind of weird? It's like there's a lot of these companies. I think like stuff like Vinegar Syndrome does this a lot too, where it's like they have a lot of really small cult classic horror movies, but also like a lot of like porno stuff. So like I always feel like, you know, I'll sign up for the newsletter because I want to hear whenever like whatever, you know, some new weird forgotten 80s movie is coming to Blu-ray, and like I'll always get like ads for that, but then it'll also be like some weird like you know, like Sluts in Chains or something kind of movie that I'm like, all right, I don't really care about that stuff as much. But so I mean, suffice it to say though, yeah, this is something that I've known about for a while, and I've seen and I like it quite a bit. You know, definitely down to do it on the show at some point. I'm sure we will, because it is you know,
Yeah, well, that's
really crazy.
This is one of these things where I probably wouldn't have put this in, but I clicked on the trailer because I thought I want to just see what this looks like, because I say it's a Japanese Evil Dead, and I thought, oh, this trailer actually looks kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it is a fun movie. Obviously,
yeah. So actually, just I've not said the title yet. I should probably say what the title is.
Oh yeah,
the title of the movie is Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell.
Yeah. And it's like it is like super cheap. It's like super low budget. And but I mean, there is like a, not that that's a bad thing though. Like you could tell that there's like a love from the, you know, filmmaker, and that he wanted to work and try as, you know, hard as he can to get it made. But yeah, I think as like, you know, a cheap weird kind of oddity movie, it's you know, pretty fun to watch.
Yeah. So that's basically all the movie stuff. We have one more thing to talk about though, and that is the Resident Evil 8 trailer, because it was revealed at the PlayStation 5 you know, reveal, not conference, because obviously they do the conferences right now,
like live stream event thing.
So yeah, this is kind of a thing. It was heavily rumored. A lot of the details in the trailer were stuff that was actually rumored beforehand. It kind of leaked a while ago, kind of what the premise was going to be, that it was going to have like a village setting, that it was going to have like supernatural elements and things like that. So it wasn't like a surprise to me once this started and got going. And admittedly, you see an umbrella logo like halfway through the trailer, so it kind of confirmed it. If you weren't, you know, aware yet, it was like, oh, that was Umbrella. Okay, we're doing Resident Evil here. So
what's funny is I was actually watching this live. It's probably like the first time I've gotten to do that, because I'm usually at work when these things happen, but now since I'm working from home, I could easily like you know, put it on and while I'm, you know, doing my stuff. And I was actually, you know, just in general, like I really like PlayStation, and you know, I was obviously gonna get PS5 anyway, but I wasn't sure if I was gonna get it like right away. But then there's actually quite a number of games that I was like, okay, this looks cool, and like, you know, obviously I definitely want Spider-Man, but then there's a couple of other like surprises that I was like, oh, I can see myself playing this or that. And then at some point, like halfway through or whatever, I was like, you know, all this stuff looks really good, but like if they could just show me a really cool looking survival horror game, that would like seal the deal for me. And then like probably like 5 minutes later, this trailer started playing, and I had heard the rumors, but I didn't put it together that this was Resident Evil right away. Until, like you said, once I saw that umbrella logo, I was like, oh shit, like all right, this is it.
Yeah, so it's in a village in, I think, Europe, which sounds very Resident Evil 4 when you started saying it like that, but it seems to be dealing with witches and werewolves, and for some reason Chris, who looks completely different again, but Chris Redfield is the villain in this game, which is baffling, and I'm curious to see how they do that. But it's the same main character as the 7th game. It's first person again, which, I mean, I'm not in love with, admittedly, but I'm definitely intrigued by some of these elements. I'm hoping some of the stealth stuff from 7 is maybe not there, because that stuff annoyed me, but I'm intrigued. You know, I'm down to give it a try. They tried to do a thing at the end where the word village like reveals the 8, and I'm like, no, we've already figured it out. We know this is Resident Evil. But no, it looked interesting. The werewolf especially. I think the image of the witches sort of like standing around the main character, and then the werewolf was sort of howling in the. Well, I say werewolf. It's more of a wolf man than a werewolf, I suppose, to be specific. But
I'm super into it. I actually really liked 7. I think I liked it a little bit more than you. which I mean, don't get me wrong, I it's still not as good as almost any other like main Resident Evil game. Like obviously better than 6. Probably better than 5. But um, like yeah, pretty much anything else is usually I'd probably still put above it. But I did like 7. I wish that they would do away with the first person aspect. Like I as much as I like 7, I didn't like that. I guess I like 7 maybe more for the story and kind of the new stuff they were doing, but I would much rather prefer a game with the kind of traditional elements that we kind of come to know. But at the same time, though, the I don't know, kind of the craziness of this like has me really intrigued. I don't mind like Resident Evil going like supernatural and stuff, but I feel like I don't know if you're gonna do that. Like, would it be better to kind of try not to tie it into the other games so much? Like, do we really need like Chris
I know
here?
it's weird that they're doing that, but I mean, well, we'll see how it is. It's interesting. Obviously, the rest of this isn't really horror related, but I'm curious. Just I need some brief thoughts here. The look of the PS5. How are you feeling about that?
I don't like it. It's like I'm not like I'm not raging against it. Like I'm not like, oh my god, this is so stupid. Like I think it's funny that there are people that are like, I'm not gonna buy this because I don't know where it would fit in my like entertainment system or whatever. Which I guess it is maybe not traditionally like what you would think to fit in those cubes or whatever, but it's like, come on, you can't find a space for it, whatever. But I don't know, it's it's I'm sure it's fine though. Like once you get in, start playing it, I'm sure it'll be fine. And then I think I was talking to my brother about it, and like I think I was complaining a little bit at first, and he's like, well, how often do you even look at the console? I'm like, yeah, it's a good point. Like even if I don't like it, I'm not gonna, it's like I'm constantly gonna be looking at it.
Yeah, I'm kind of into it, to be honest, because I'm sick of just boring black boxes that we've had for the last like several decades at this point.
True. Yeah.
So give me something funky. Give me something that looks like a spaceship. I'm all for it. No, that was a pretty solid showing overall. There was a bunch of stuff. I'm excited for Ratchet and Clank, and I'm excited for that new Capcom one, which is obviously years and years away. But the one that was like the astronaut looking dude in the city with the girl and the cat, like that looked pretty interesting from a mood standpoint.
I don't think I've seen anyone else get excited for this, but back in the old PS1 days, I loved Oddworld. I was a huge Oddworld guy, so I'm actually really excited about the new Oddworld game.
I never played Oddworld, so no attachment for me, but and the Horizon 2 stuff made me want to play Horizon 1 properly and stuff, so
yeah, I've never played it, but I kind of want to go and check it out now.
Yeah, no, it was a good showing. The only thing, I mean, to just bring us back into horror, the one thing that was missing, because everything that was kind of rumored basically showed up.
Yeah.
The one thing that was missing was the announcement of a new Silent Hill game, which was heavily implied by various rumors and people. And basically, I think it still looks likely that it exists and it's a real thing. It's just that they didn't reveal it yet. And part of that might just because, we revealed a Resident Evil game. We didn't want to do Resident Evil and Silent Hill in the same event.
Makes sense.
Maybe it's not far long enough yet to show. There's the other possibilities. I still believe that Sony is backing a proper Silent Hill game.
I'm all down for that. That would be amazing.
I want it. I can't believe I'm at a point where like I got a new Resident Evil game announced, but like I'm disappointed there wasn't a new Silent Hill, because I've always liked Resident Evil. The real Resident Evil games I've always liked more than Silent Hill, but Resident Evil's had, 2 remake was like I got my wonderful like return to form of 2 of Resident Evil. Silent Hill's not had a good Silent Hill game in since 3 since like 2000 4 or something like that.
I heard I've heard some people say Shattered Memories isn't that bad, but like I don't know, but I mean I'm sure it's not as good as like 2 or 3 obviously. I feel like at the very least, like take a whatever, like a steal an idea from like Resident Evil or something, do like a proper remake of the first one or something, could be really cool.
Yeah, one's really good. I think 3 is a good game, but it's definitely a step down from 2.
I never beat 3. I wish I I wish I still had like my PS3 so I could play it.
The level
Um,
design's a bit weird in 3, which is my main complaint about it. But I mean, two is like basically a masterpiece. So
sure, yeah.
and one's really
2's
solid.
great.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but all right, there you go. That is the horror news for the week. So thank you very much for joining us. If you made it to the end here, if you got this far in the episode, put type in the comments. Braids are hot right now. I want to see it in the comments. So do that. You can of course, liking is really important on YouTube. It lets the algorithm know that you recommend us to other people, and it'll share us out. So please do that. You can of course support us financially. We go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and support us for as little as $1 per month. And you get bonuses. You get bonus episodes of Streams After Midnight at the movie reviews if you do that, plus a bonus, plus bonus episodes of other shows. And you also, at the $5 tier, get to vote for an episode once per month and early access to all the movie reviews and a bunch of other stuff on the channel. So go and have a look and see if you're interested in any of that. Otherwise, get us on Twitter at Screams Midnight. And that's about us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary movies, guys, and we will see you next time.